Okay, students, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Meet again with Manika on listening comprehensions material. Yeah, and today's listening comprehension, we are going to listen to learn and also comprehend about lecture or monologue. Okay, now let's continue. For the listening, we have three main specific types of listening that most common in interpersonal communication. Okay, we have three main types, related to listening. The first is about informational listening. We can say this is about listening to learn. And then secondly, critical listening. That is listening to evaluate or listening to analyze. Okay, this is for critical listening. And then for the third listening, this is therapeutic or empathic listening. And in this listening, this is a kind of listening to understand the feeling and also emotion. Okay. We are going to know about someone's emotion or someone's feeling, and when they are going to speak, and then we are going to listen and try to understand about their feeling when they want to speak. Okay, this is a kind of main listening, the main types of listening for interpersonal communication. Okay, next. Before we start to the topic of the first, that is about listening to learn about monologue and lecture, we are going to know first that this kind of listening that we are going to learn, this involves on informational listening. This is on the first type, on the first type of listening. On this informational listening, the listener, the listener here just focus on the speaker and then try to understand the message from the speaker, from the audio or from the video, and then monitor the listening habits, and then the last, block out noise. So it means here you don't care about the noisy, from your environment. This is about informational listening. So you are going to focus on trying to understand about the message that the speaker delivered. Okay, and now another meaning about the informational listening here, that in informational listening you have an activity to talk less, of course. It's not necessary for you to talk more, You are going to keep silent and then try to concentrate, focus on the message that the speakers delivered. And then get rid of the distraction, so it means you are going to avoid about disruption, and then don't judge prematurely. And then look for the key ideas. This is the way how to concentrate, Ini adalah cara berkonsentrasi, so you look for the key ideas. Sometimes the listener will try to find the clue from the speaker saying, and then ask some questions related to the topic. You need to ask something. What is it? What is the speaker talking about in this in the audio or in the video? And then you are going to paraphrase what the speaker is saying. You are going to try to make your own sentence, to create your own sentences related about the speaker's topic. Jadi mencoba untuk berpikir buat kalimat sendiri, gitu ya. Kira-kira topiknya tentang apa, gitu kan? Yang dibicarakan di situ. Okay, and now we come to the next. This one, Mamika will focus on the two kinds of listening. Mamika will focus on the two kinds of listening, that is about monologue and lecture. Okay, we are going to know about the definition first. The definition about the monologue and lecture. A monologue involves one character speaking to another. Yeah, monologue. There are so many kinds of monologue too. Can be dramatic monologue too, and also the academic monologue. There will be different. Jadi monolog itu juga macam-macam gitu ya. Walaupun karakternya hanya satu orang berbicara, one character speaking to another, to the audience gitu ya. And then a lecture means an educational talk to audience, especially to student in university or college. So the condition will be different. If a monologue here can be everywhere, anywhere, but in a lecture, this is especially for the educational condition or the educational environment, yeah. It means like in a university or in a college. Jadi kondisinya beda. Monologue can be like a dramatic monologue, for example. Monolog itu juga ada yang bentuknya dramatic monolog. Jadi dramatic itu dia menyampaikan karakter drama seseorang gitu ya. Jadi misalnya Anda menampilkan karakter dari sebuah teater gitu ya, yang menampilkan you are going to imitate the figure on a drama, and then you are going to tell like him or like her. Okay, that's one. This is about the monologue, especially the dramatic monologue. And also sometimes the academic monologue, yeah. The academic monologue can be telling about the information, about biology, about psychology. Yeah, there are so many different academic conditions. Okay, but a lecture here, this is in the form that the lecturer delivers the material to the students of university. This is specific one. Jadi kalau lecture itu lebih spesifik gitu ya. Jadi dosen menyampaikan materi kepada mahasiswanya. Okay, this is a lecture. And now next, okay, in informational listening, like a monologue and also a lecture here. So lecture and monologue, both of them are in informational listening, and then you are going to listen to learn something. Yeah. The informational listening, especially in formal setting, like in a work meetings or while in an education, is often accompanied by note-taking, a way of recording key information so that it can be reviewed later. So what does it mean? Jadi, kenapa harus note-taking gitu ya? So when you are listening to the information, yeah, of course, you are going to concentrate, you are going to keep silent, and then no saying, yeah, you try to keep silent and try to record the man saying or the people saying on what you are listening, yeah. So the record for the information that you are going to listen, yeah. So you have to find something, and then you are going to review what is the speakers saying on the audio. Okay, this is the best way how you can review, yeah, how you can paraphrase about the speaker saying, that is by note taking. Okay, and then continue. Yeah, this is an example of monologue. Mameka will try to give you an example of the video, yeah, related to the monologue. Okay, let's try to look at this video. This is a kind of monologue.
Life. What is life? Life is a journey of one's own self-discovery. It's a journey without end until death. Life is defined by society's standards of what is accepted, what is right, and what is wrong. Trapped by the bonds of self-imposed boundaries, we are slaves to the norms. Insomnia hits us like an unknown sound in our soul. We lay in wonder, in self-doubt, and gaze into the imperfections of our self-worth. Life is the acceptance that there is no right, that there is no wrong, just living with happiness and embracing yourself. Life is knowing that there are no limits, there are no norms. We are a free mind in a free world of endless possibilities. Stop and listen to your soul. Your life is a beautiful one. It is yours to do what you want, so go out and do it.
Okay, students, this is the video of a short monologue that is about life. Yeah. So this is a kind of a monologue. A character try to speak something with the topic of life. Okay, and then for the next. Okay, this one on the second, Namika will try to give you an example about lecture. Okay, so we are going to watch the video, a short video about lecture. Okay, let's try to watch together.
It is the stories of English, of course. That's what I'm talking about this evening, not the story of English, which some of you may remember was the title of a television series 20 or more years ago. And the story of English that was told in that particular program, and indeed has been told virtually in the same way for the last 100 years or more, is the story of one kind of English only, the story of standard English. And dialects, the non-standard varieties of English, have been virtually neglected. And quite consciously so. Here's a quote to illustrate the point. H.C. Wilde, A Short History of English, book I cut my teeth on when I went to read English for the first time. Absolutely standard work. And this is what he says when you open his book and look for dialects. You will find them there at the very back in the very last chapter, sort of tucked away at the end somewhere. Fortunately, says Wilde, at the present time, the great majority of the English dialects are of very little importance as representatives of English speech. And for our present purpose, we can afford to let them go. Except insofar as they throw light upon the growth of those forms of our language which are the main objects of our solicitude, namely the language of literature and received standard spoken English. Quaint and eccentric, he calls dialects. And those are two of the commonest adjectives for dialects in that particular period of our history. Oh, there's another little quote here. You'll love this one. He allows at one point that there may be sophisticated valleys of dialect use, saying, these certainly differ from the pure old dialect, but is it identical with the English heard in, let us say, in an Oxford or Cambridge, a common room, or in an officer's mess? We should probably say that it was not, says Wilde. Now that captures a whole ethos of attitudes towards dialect in relation to the standard language. Standard English is proper English, is correct English. Dialect is inferior English, is low quality, is deficient in some way, to be judged against the criterion of the standard language. And the names for the dialect situation are of course many and various, and they're all negative in their associations, aren't they? People talk about these varieties being patois, or cant, or a lingo of some kind, or broken English, or gutter English, or substandard English. Linguists on the whole have tried to get away from this kind of negative.
Okay, this is the difference between monologue and a lecture. Okay, and now we are going to know why we should note taking while we are listening. Okay, how to note taking? The first is write phrases, not full sentences. And then secondly, take notes in your own words. And then third, structure your notes. The fourth, quote your notes. And then if you miss something, write the keywords. And then use symbols and also abbreviation. And then use concept maps and diagrams. This is the way how you take notes. Jadi apa itu untuk note taking ya, untuk membuat catatan Anda bisa membuat dengan cara step-step seperti ini. Okay, you can use which one do you like if the topic is about kinds of kinds of list or the process of something, you can try to use diagrams to make or to take notes, yeah, while you are listening. And then when we talk about when the material or when the monologue or the lecture try to deliver about some subject, yeah, like for example, from the second video, you listen about the difference between the stories of English and the story of English. Okay, so both of them are different. Yeah, so you are going to make a comparison from the explanation of the lecturer, and then you may try to make a concept maps, yeah, or maybe make a column, the difference between stories of English and the story of English. Okay, jadi Anda membuat semacam kolom gitu ya untuk membedakan. So, what does it mean by stories of English and what does the story of English mean? Okay, this one. This is the difference between the second video, yeah, related to the second video. But if you listen about the first monologue, yeah, the first monologue here about life, yeah, the example on the first video, you can try to use phrases, yeah, to take notes, and then you can use abbreviation, yeah, that you find on the first video about life on the monologue, yeah. Okay, this one. This is about the way how you take notes, yeah. And then continue. We are going to practice now. The Mecca will deliver the video, yeah, a lecture. The Mecca delivers about lecture video, and then you are going to concentrate. You are going to listen to learn something from this video. After you listen, of course, yeah, Mecca give you some questions related to the video. Okay. But before we come to the practice, Mamika will give you an example how to take notes first related to the video that I gave you. Okay, this one, Mamika will give you an example from this video. Yeah, from this video, we are going to play for a while. Yeah, and then Mamika will try to give you an example how to take note from the example of this video. Okay, let's try to watch the video.
Spoken grammar, why is it important? That's a loaded question. It means I already assume it is important, and I'm going to tell you why. But I'm going to start with a bit of history. We're here, all of us, thanks to Cambridge University Press, which, as you know, is the oldest press in the world. And when it was founded by King Henry VIII, at the time of King Henry VIII's reign, people were learning languages. People in England, usually rich people and usually men, were learning Latin. Now, there's a little schoolboy's poem that says, Latin is a language as dead can be. It killed the ancient Romans and now it's killing me. But at that time, at the time of Henry VIII, Latin was quite a useful language. You needed it to travel around Europe. Just as today you could say you need English to go to different countries, at that time you needed Latin. But you didn't need it to write. You needed it to speak to people in France or Italy or Spain or Portugal. And the young men of England would get on their horses, get into their coaches, and do what was called the Grand Tour. They would travel around Europe, learning to be gentlemen, and they would meet other gentlemen, and they would speak to them in Latin. What they learned in their schools in England was actually spoken Latin. They learned spoken grammar. And in Cambridge University Library, we have these original textbooks. They were called Vulgaria. And if you know Latin, you will know that Vulgaria means ordinary things, the things of the common people. And the language which these textbooks taught was the language of the common people, the vulgar. vulgar has a much more negative meaning in modern English, but its original meaning simply means the people. So they were learning Latin, learning to speak Latin, not to write it, and learning the language of the ordinary people. Then everything changed. Science came in. And the language of science was also Latin, but it was a language for writing. And it became so important as the language of thought, language of intellectual pursuit, that the spoken grammars died. And for several centuries, grammars of English and grammars of Latin were all based upon the written language. And that situation persisted right down the centuries until, shall we say, the end of the last century, the end of the 20th century. Then it changed, and there are good reasons why things changed and why I'm here today able to talk about spoken grammar without feeling embarrassed, without feeling I'm talking about a suspicious subject, a subject that we only mention in whispers. And of course, two things changed. One was the advent of sound recording technology. And not just the ability to record sound, but to do it on very small pieces of equipment. Walkman, little digital recorders, small microphones like this one. So for the first time, we were able to capture the language of the ordinary people. Not the language of the orators, the Winston Churchills or the Martin Luther Kings. The language of ordinary people doing ordinary things. Having dinner, cooking dinner, traveling in a car, chatting to their colleagues at work, chatting to other students in their halls of residence. We were able to capture these voices. The other major change was the advent of computers and software which could analyze the spoken language. Now, I'm not talking today about the phonetic aspects of spoken language. I'm talking about spoken language which has been transcribed faithfully and stored in a computer as a corpus. A corpus is just a collection of texts stored in the computer. So if, for example, I wanted to find out as much as possible about a language like Italian, a good idea would be to take all the newspapers published in Italy for a whole year and put their text into a computer. This would be my corpus, plural corpora, okay? From the Latin, corpus meaning a body, not to be confused with corpse, which is a dead body, okay?
Okay, students, Namika stop the video after this, yeah? And then Namika will give you an example about how to take notes, yeah? Okay, Namika will try to, okay, yeah? This is a what should you note from the lecture explanation, yeah? Namika try to take a note, this one, yeah? About, Namika try to write down some vocabularies, yeah, from the lecturer, yeah, for example, like this, okay, I can get spoken grammar from the lecturer, and then learning Latin, and then Latin is useful a language, and then you don't need it, it means it here refers to, Latin, yeah, Latin language, and then you need it to speak. You need the Latin to speak, it means, yeah. And then in England, they learn Latin, yeah. And then next, spoken grammar guide, okay. And then learning Latin, learning to speak Latin, not to write it, okay. Jadi ada tadi semacam lecturer bicara kalau belajar Latin, itu ya, itu belajar bicara, bukan belajar untuk menulisnya, gitu ya. Kemudian dance, learning for the ordinary people. Ya, oke, it means ya dia belajar untuk mendengar percakapan dari orang-orang yang yang orang biasa yang ngobrol gitu ya. Jadi orang-orang yang sedang ngobrol, sedang chatting gitu kan, itu tadi disampaikan seperti itu. And then everything changes. Okay, ada di situ. And then two things change, ya. And then sound recording technology, kemudian the advent of computer and software, and then analyze spoken language, and then corpus or corpora. Okay, these are some words or phrases we can note from the lecture explanation. When we just cut the video in a short video, and then we can try to write this, as phrases and words that I note on my paper, related to understand about what is the lecturers explaining, to the students. Okay, this is the way how to take note. And then this one, from your note here, we can try to answer, for the example of the questions here, if the lecturers, if the lecturer like Memeka delivers some questions to you after you take a note, for example, that I gave you before on the previous slide, Memeka try to take a note for some related words or phrases from the lecturer explanation, and there are 5 questions here, from the lecturer's explanation. The first question is, what do you think of the topic of the lecture? Of course, on the first question, you are going to answer by saying spoken grammar, because the lecturer at the first time tried to deliver about the spoken grammar and the definition of spoken grammar, and then number 1, the answer will be spoken grammar. And then for the second question, what language that the people in England learn at first? On my note before, on my, taking note before at the example, that England learned Latin, So it means what language that the people in England learn first. Of course, in England, the people learn Latin language. Okay, this is the answer for number 2. And how about the answer for number 3? Why was Latin useful to travel around Europe a long time ago? And then what is the original textbook saved in a Cambridge University? And then number 5, after a couple of centuries, what was the basic of grammar of English and a grammar of Latin? Okay, students, for the 3 questions below, because I have answered for the question number 1 and number 2, now it's time for you to answer on the comment of this video. Okay, I need you to answer after putting like on my video, and then try to answer number 3, 4, and 5 on the comment of my video. Don't forget to put your name, and also your name, so I can try to check for your answers related to this question. Only number 3, 4, and 5. Remember that, okay? Because I have answered for number 1 and 2. Okay, only 3 questions that you should answer on the comment of this video. Okay, find the answer, and then next, and what do you think of the answers? This one, this is the sample answers. Okay, number 1 and number 2. Okay, spoken and Latin. I have answered this, and then now it's time for you to write down the answer for 3, 4, and 5. We come to the next slide. Okay, student, this one, you are going to continue watching for the video. Memeka will play again the video for a lecture, and then you have to answer some following questions related to the video up to finish the video of the lecture. Okay, because Mr. Michael McCurdy here is still explaining about the spoken grammar, and Memeka cut for a part of it, try to give you an example, and also questions, to answers on the comment of the video. But after you finish, you also try to do to answer some questions. There are 10 again. There are 10 again, but you should upload it on sim.unissula with the PDF file after you fully watch the video, and also try to take notes about the information that you listen from this video, and then you're going to answer 10 questions. Okay, student, now we are going to watch again the video. Try to continue the explanation from Mr. Michael McCarthy. Okay, now. And then there are some questions following this video. Okay, try to take a look at the questions. Now, okay, this is the questions, but the green one here, I need you to answer by using your own perception related to learn listening to comprehensions here, listening to learn the lecture. Okay, so you need to give your own idea, not from your friend's idea. Please, I need you to share your own feeling related to our learning today. Okay, this is the question, only 10. So you have to answer 10 and then followed one again. Just try to know about your idea. What do you learn from the lecture that you listen to? Okay, after you learn that, have you learned something from the video? Okay, apakah Anda belajar sesuatu dari video itu? What do you learn? Okay, you can answer on the green one. For number 11. Okay, students, these are our learning today. Now, these questions will be answered in a PDF file, upload in sim.unissula. Okay, I'm waiting for your response, and please don't don't miss the submission deadline, because I will try to give you the note for the submission deadline on sim.unissula. And then don't send me the message that you are late because I have tried to remind you always that this is about the day or the time that you have to submit your assignment. Okay, and then thank you for our learning today, and thanks for your attention, and we will see you again on the next material, on the different material next week. Okay, thank you so much, and do your best. Thank you. Goodbye. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.